Well, it's come to this. I'm going to get this out of the way up front. I hate Monopoly. Yes, I'm well aware of its roots as the landlord game and as social commentary. Doesn't matter. Monopoly is a terrible game. And it's made even worse when nobody plays it by the actual rules. I mean, here's Wikipedia's default picture for Monopoly, and they have money piled up in the middle of the board. That's what you do when you want a game that already drags on too long and has too much randomness in it, to drag on even longer and be even more random. And Monopoly's popularity has made it the default board game for almost 100 years. Which is why it's only been in the past 20 years that the fact that board games can be fun has penetrated the popular consciousness. Monopoly is a bad game that's done a lot of harm. So needless to say, regardless of the quality of the port, I'm not going to be happy with this. This is the first console version of Monopoly. If you've somehow managed to avoid being aware of what Monopoly is, it's a board game where you roll, move, buy properties, trade them between players, build houses and hotels on the properties once you've collected the complete set of that color property, and then collect money from anyone who lands on a square that you own. The goal of the game is to be the last person standing with everyone else out of money. When you start playing the Famicom version of Monopoly, you first have to decide how many players will be in the game, between 2 and 8. I went with the standard 4 when I played. You then choose if they'll be human or computer, and for the computer players you select portraits. And then you start rolling. In general, you hit A to do actions in the game, almost all of which are automated. So you hit A to roll, A to accept the movement, A when you're done and are handing off to the next player. When you land on a property that no one owns, you have the choice to buy it for the street value right there, or you could choose to auction it off. Broadly speaking, auctioning is usually the better choice, but the computer players in Famicom Monopoly seem to hugely overvalue properties. And they're definitely willing to get into riskier spending, leaving themselves with no cash reserves for when they run into trouble. The auction automatically moves the selection up and down to the person who's bidding, which is weird since it's seizing control from you as you're trying to bid, but there's a long pause before the auction closes, so you'll always have your opportunity to get a final bid in. Before you roll the dice, you can hit select to bring up a special options menu, and here you can check out your properties, build houses, or initiate trades with other players. For trading, you can put down what you're offering, what you want from them, and it will be property or cash. When the AI trades, inevitably they just mark down what they want and leave the rest blank, and then you have to come up with a counter offer. If both players agree to terms, then it goes through, otherwise you can go through a few rounds of negotiation. I found that the AI really was not willing to trade with you so that you could get a set. Which is reasonable, but if you don't have something that can give them a set, you're not going to be able to get a set. Beyond that, everything runs itself. Money changes hands automatically, cards are drawn and played automatically, everything is done for you. In my game, I encountered one of the classic problems with Monopoly. By the third turn, I knew I had lost the game. I just wasn't landing on any place where I could buy property. As a result, I wound up with half as many properties as the rest of the players, and that's a completely untenable position in this game. But I still had to play for 45 minutes until I landed on hotels twice in a row, and it wiped out my cash. And once you've lost, the game still continues to play itself, though at that point, who wins is purely academic. I know that this is going to shock you, but Monopoly is not a popular Famicom game. The most conversation I found from people in Japan about it was, "Oh yeah, I owned that as a kid." My take on it is if you really had to play Monopoly, at least you can play this version and not torture anyone else with the game. It's a functional, but not especially exciting implementation. Not that you can really jazz Monopoly up a whole lot. And the biggest downside is that the AI isn't really that great. But don't play Monopoly. Don't do that to yourself. You deserve to play a better game than this.